Hello everybody, welcome to the Redmen TV. This is the Liverpool Development Watch. My name is Ben Kelly and my job is to bring you updates regarding the youth sides and loanees associated with Liverpool Football Club. And we're actually going to mix things up this week and start with the youth sides because the biggest news of the week was Liverpool under-18s beating Manchester City under-18s 1-0 with a super late goal coming from Bobby Duncan, a former Manchester City academy player. Of course, a lot of you will know him also as Steven Gerrard's cousin, who came across from Manchester City this summer, scored a late goal. The game was actually very similar to the Premier League game between the first team yesterday. Wasn't a great deal going on, wasn't a lot of chances, and Duncan stole it right in the last minute to get a big win for Barry Lutis' side. It leads them second in the under-18s Premier League, 1 point behind leaders Everton, which is a bit of a novelty for them to be leading any type of division whatsoever, but that is the way the picture looks at the moment in the under-18s. Meanwhile, the Liverpool under-23s lost 1-0 to West Bromwich Albion in the group stage of the Premier League Cup. Under-18s forward Fidel O'Rourke was handed an opportunity at this level for the first time. He came on from the bench at the Hawthorns, but he couldn't find an equaliser. A penalty in the first half from Albion's Callum Morton was enough to win Albion the game. The Premier League Cup is, of course, one of the domestic competitions at the under-23s level. Liverpool are in a group of 4, and this loss doesn't necessarily mean that they're out, just means that they've got to go and win the other games in the competition in order to progress. And now we'll talk about the loanees, and Loris Karius had another week to forget as he made a huge error for Besiktas in their Europa League game versus Malmo. I'm sure a lot of you will have seen it by now. The clip went viral on Twitter. I do feel really sorry for Loris Karius and the Twitter abuse particularly that he gets whenever one of these happens, but you know, it's just it seems like he always will have a mistake in him now. You know, it doesn't look like his confidence is really improving at all, and it's quite sad to see, really. But obviously, for those who haven't seen it, a cross just comes in from the right-hand side, and it just bends in. It's definitely directed as a cross, but I think Karius is caught a little bit off guard, and he goes to save it, he gets a hand to it, and kind of ends up pushing it into his own goal. It's a really bizarre one, and it's one of them where as soon as it happens, obviously everybody picks up on it, not just Liverpool fans, because of obviously what happens in the Champions League final. Everybody's waiting for him to make the next mistake now, and unfortunately he has there. He followed that up with a better performance in the league at the weekend in a 2-2 draw with Konyaspor, but obviously the headlines were made on Thursday in the game against Malmo where he made that catastrophic error. Up to Scotland, and Ryan Kent grabbed headlines for Rangers this week with 2 great performances in both the Europa League and the Scottish Premiership. He grabbed his first goal against Hearts on Sunday in a man-of-the-match performance for Steven Gerrard's side. Kent has become a vital part of this team, and he will be looking to maintain his form and probably add a few more goals and assists in there in the coming weeks. Alan Rodriguez out in Germany made his second start for Frankfurt against Hoffenheim, but it wasn't really as good as his first. He was subbed up for half-time due to picking up a booking in the first half. Harry Wilson in the Championship was limited to a sub-appearance against QPR at the weekend following a start in their game against Norwich in the week. Both games ended in a 1-1 draw. And Wilson, it seems to be the target at the moment of quite a lot of bad tackles. He's been fouled a lot. I think it's just because he's very good on the ball, very quick, very nippy player. Obviously, his profile has gone up a little bit following those heroics at Old Trafford last week for Derby in the Capital One Cup, or whatever it's called these days. Meanwhile, down in League One, Herbie Kane's good form for Doncaster wasn't enough to stop them falling off to a 4-0 defeat by Joey Barton's Fleetwood at the weekend. He was, however, voted man of the match in another good individual performance. The Doncaster fans absolutely love him. They're saying that he's too good for their team, and they really do feel lucky to have him in the middle of their midfield. Still no more game time, however, for Ben Woodburn, as Sheffield United won another 2 games this week against Blackburn and Hull City. It's becoming a real playoff/promotion push for them at the moment, and it's a real shame that Ben Woodburn isn't more involved in that side, because I feel like his creativity could really add another level to their attack. For whatever reason at the moment, he's not getting played, but hopefully he gets a few more minutes in the coming week. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of this week's Liverpool Development Watch. Thank you very much for watching as always. Do all the usual stuff, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment down below, and I will be back next week with more Development Watch goodness. I've been Ben Kelly for the Redmen TV. Goodbye.